High Saf.
Isa.
On November 13th, 2025, a quiet press release from Washington made headlines in Mexico and the U.S., though the story behind it had been unfolding for years. A sprawling network of casinos in Mexico, glossy, neon-lit halls, poker tables buzzing with energy, slot machines chiming, was not just about gambling. Behind the lights and glamour, investigators alleged, these casinos were funneling massive sums of money for one of the world's most powerful criminal organizations, the Sinaloa Cartel. At the heart of it was a family with roots in Albania, known simply as the Haisas. Over decades, they had quietly built an empire of casinos stretching from the northern deserts of Sonora down to the beaches of Cancun. Names like Midas, Mirage, Palermo, Scampa, and Emine sounded like ordinary entertainment venues. Tourists checked in expecting a night of cards, drinks, and lights. But in the shadows, the Hisa family allegedly helped turn these casinos into a sophisticated banking operation for the cartel. The operation was meticulous. Cash moved in ways designed to avoid scrutiny. Large deposits, split into smaller amounts, layered across multiple accounts, sometimes even across countries. People on the street probably had no clue. Imagine being a tourist winning a few $100, thinking it's fun, while in the back office, there's a team moving millions like it's monopoly money. Shell companies in Canada and Poland were reportedly used to move funds, giving the illusion of legitimate international business. Even when funds moved physically, it was done with precision. Cartel operatives sometimes retrieved stacks of cash directly from the casinos themselves. It was an ingenious system because it exploited one simple truth. Casinos handle enormous amounts of cash every day. Slot machines, high-stakes tables, poker tournaments. All of it generates legitimate revenue. Layer illicit funds into that flow, and suddenly money that came from the sale of fentanyl, meth, or heroin looks perfectly ordinary. For the Sinaloa Cartel, this was vital. Selling drugs is only half the operation. Once profits are made, they need to be cleaned and reintegrated into legitimate economies. Without that step, the cash is essentially unusable. Every dollar moved through a casino gave the cartel the ability to pay suppliers, bribe officials, or fund operations with less risk of detection. But the Haisa network wasn't just moving money. Authorities alleged that they actively coordinated with the cartel to structure deposits and transfers to avoid anti-money laundering laws. Some accounts were kept just below reporting thresholds, while others were layered through shell companies to obscure the money's origin. In other words, the casino wasn't just a cover, it was a machine designed to disguise and multiply illicit profits. This story isn't just about numbers or systems, though. It's about people. The Haisas, according to investigators, cultivated a public persona of successful entrepreneurs. They held grand openings, charity events, tourists would see red carpets, flashing cameras, and VIP lounges. But behind closed doors, the family allegedly coordinated with cartel figures, instructing managers on how to handle deposits and how to avoid scrutiny from banks or regulators. It's a Friday night in a bustling Mexico City casino. The floors are alive with tourists clinking glasses, the sound of slot machines ringing in every corner. Dealers shuffle cards, announce bets, and cheer for winners. And somewhere in the back office, accountants and managers quietly move stacks of cash. Some from ordinary players, some from cartel operatives. By the time anyone outside the network sees a bank statement, the money looks legitimate, a routine night at a casino. Authorities didn't stumble onto this operation by accident. Years of financial investigation, cross-border cooperation, and surveillance revealed patterns too consistent to be natural. Deposits were timed, amounts structured, and accounts layered internationally. Canada, Poland, Mexico, the United States, each played a role in obscuring the money's origin. The response was swift. U.S. authorities froze accounts, blocked access to banks, and sanctioned the Haisas. Mexico followed suit, targeting the individual casinos and their corporate networks. Websites were shuttered, assets frozen, and the goal was clear. Hit the cartel where it hurts most, in its ability to turn illegal profits into usable cash. What's remarkable is the scale of the operation. This wasn't a single rogue casino in a small town. This was a sprawling network spanning cities, states, and international borders. Each casino acted like a node in a financial web. Money could move through dozens of accounts and jurisdictions before anyone could trace it back. Yet the operation had risks. Casinos operate under strict financial oversight. Surveillance cameras monitor cash movement. Banks are required to report suspicious activity. Every transaction carried the risk of exposure, and in some cases, employees of the Heise family were allegedly caught off guard, unaware of the scale of the laundering, or too complicit to speak out. Even within the cartel, the stakes were high. A mistake in timing, an alert triggered at a bank, or a misstep in the layering process could compromise the entire network. And yet, for years, the system worked. The casinos gave the cartel flexibility and cover, making the Sinaloa organization even more resilient. For law enforcement, cracking this case was about more than seizing cash or arresting operators. It was about dismantling the financial infrastructure that allowed the cartel to function globally. The story also shows the adaptability of organized crime. When authorities close one route, networks find another. Shell companies, offshore accounts, and multi-country transactions allowed the Heises and the cartel to operate in plain sight. The sophistication is staggering, each step designed to stay just ahead of regulators, auditors, and investigators. For tourists, these casinos remain a place of fun, of chance, of entertainment. But for the cartel, they were a lifeline. Every poker tournament, every roulette wheel, every high-stakes game became a mechanism for moving millions without raising alarms. And when the U.S. and Mexican authorities finally coordinated a crackdown, it was as if the house of cards was being pulled apart from the bottom up. The implications go beyond Mexico, and the U.S. global organized crime operates in layers, in shadows, often intersecting with legitimate businesses and international finance. It's not just about drugs on the street, it's about networks, money flows, and infrastructure. Without that, even the most powerful criminal organizations would struggle to function. For the Heises family, the fallout is massive. Casinos shut down, bank accounts frozen, international travel restricted. Their public persona as respected entrepreneurs is shattered, replaced with allegations of aiding one of the world's most dangerous criminal networks. And for the Sinaloa Cartel, it's a blow to a critical part of their financial system. But the story isn't over. The cartel is resilient, and organized crime is always evolving. New networks, new routes, new businesses are likely to emerge to replace the ones authorities have disrupted. Still, striking at the financial backbone is one of the few ways governments can slow these organizations in a meaningful way. This isn't just a story about casinos or criminal families. It's a story about the invisible systems that make organized crime possible, the delicate dance of risk and reward, and the people, both inside and outside the law, who navigate those systems. It's a reminder that money is power, and power often hides in plain sight. In the end, the lights of the casino are still bright, the slot machines still ring, and the tables still buzz with tourists chasing luck, but the stakes behind the scenes are far higher. Money that could fuel violence, drugs, and corruption now faces scrutiny. The house is no longer just winning at blackjack or poker. It's a battleground in the war against global organized crime. The Heise empire may have seemed untouchable, and yet the authorities played it smart, freezing accounts, targeting shell companies. It's a reminder that no matter how clever someone is, every system has a weak point. For years, they moved money with precision, intelligence, and audacity. But this operation shows that even the most carefully constructed networks have vulnerabilities, and that law enforcement, when coordinated and persistent, can find the seams in the system. Casinos are meant to be places of chance, but in the hands of the Heises and the Sinaloa Cartel, the odds were always manipulated. Every chip, every dollar, every transaction was a move in a high-stakes game few could see, until authorities finally decided to play their hand.